Greg Pak and Raphael Ianco continue Vader's journey to Exegol as the Dark Lord discovers the sinister secrets of the Sith on the Dead World, and just what Emperor Palpatine has been building there all this time. Greg Pak does a wonderful job again as we head into the finale of the Into the Fire story arc and where Vader finds himself and his allegiances falling. And it's not as black and white as I think many people thought it was going to be. I love that Pak is trying to weave some sense to Palpatine's plan and stuff we saw in Rise of Skywalker and exploring more of the rather interesting concepts that movie put forth with Exegol but never really explored fully. As well as the inclusion of stuff like Luke's cut off hand, something that's actually been running through the recent Charles Soule book. So to see that hand actually resurface again was actually quite cool, and there was even a reference to the quite silly Luke clone from the Heir to the Empire series of books. My favourite part of the issue came towards the end, with Vader seeing his son again in a sort of reverse position to what they had happen on Bespin. Reading into it, I think that's the moment Vader knows to defeat the Emperor and overtake him, like all Sith want to do, he must join him again, which pretty much perfectly sets up why in Return of the Jedi he's back with his master and part of his inner circle again. It would definitely be interesting to see how Pak continues to sow the seeds for this throughout the book and the upcoming issues. Raphael Ianco again gives us some pretty fun action and more creepy alien monster designs he's been doing throughout the whole series. I really liked his take on the Kyber Crystal's power and how it just washes over Vader while also blinding Ochi and giving us a reason why he's got cybernetic eyes in Rise of Skywalker. It also feeds into the fact that there's been a lot of cosmic horror in this series, and he perfectly captures that with the power making Ochi's eyes burn out because it was too much for him to see. It also plays wonderfully into the whole concept of the story being about rage and pain, and how red is often depicted as the colour of rage or blood, something the book has been covered in. Darth Vader issue 11 was another awesome issue and installment in Vader's journey back to the dark side. I enjoyed more of the connective tissue to the movies this issue tried to do, and trying to fix certain things Rise of Skywalker alluded to and expand on them in a whole new way, continuing to explore Vader's character really well in the process. I'm going to give this issue a 9.5 out of 10. Darth Vader issue 11 heads to Exegol, where Ochi of Bestoon alerts the Emperor that Vader is coming. Palpatine is already well aware as Vader's voice calls out from his master above. Palpatine says that he left Vader weak and broken on Mustafar, wondering what that taught him. Vader, who is riding the giant eldritch monster he found, says that he wants to see his master's face when he teaches him to fear. Palpatine laughs, unleashing two giant crab-like monsters to rip apart Vader's mount, as his master knows he's grown bold, but there is no threat he's not ready for. Palpatine's monsters are easily killed by Vader's, and he says he's not the apprentice anymore. The Emperor doesn't care, using the Force to wrap Vader's creature up in its own tentacles, killing it with a blinding light and leaving Vader to follow after his master on foot and into the temple. Descending into the temple, Palpatine's voice fills the air and Vader's mind, knowing that he has fear of his own, saying that it begins with pain. Vader comes across his master's cloning facilities as well as the hand of Luke Skywalker he cut off on Bespin, told by his master that pain is the scalpel of creation and he used it to make the clone monsters and can use it to make anything else. The cloning vats spring open and three of Palpatine's armored guards confront Vader. Ochi thought that there are only two Sith ever, but Vader knows that these aren't Sith, but Palpatine says they could be, should Vader fail. Vader begins his battle, but despite cutting one in half, the group fall through the floor, where the beings manage to subdue Vader, if only for a second, as the Dark Lord chops another in half and throws his saber at the final one, killing it. Palpatine notes how his apprentice seems weary as a mass of cloaked acolytes descend on Vader, daggers in hand. Palpatine says that Vader wants two Sith, but any one of these could replace him since he's currently all in pieces. He asks what hope does Vader have as Darth Vader reaches out with the Force, grabbing the acolytes' knives and killing them all with it. Ochi tells Palpatine that Vader somehow still lives, something the villain anticipated, meaning that he is one step closer to vengeance, wondering if Vader can feel the thing that's suffering in the unfathomable pain nearby. Ochi tells Vader by now he should know he can't fight Palpatine and he's best to broker a deal. The two men soon find Palpatine's dry docks, where hundreds of Star Destroyers are being made. One's 1,000 times more powerful thanks to the cannon they have underneath them, a planet-killing cannon. Vader is drawn towards a giant domed building covered in a red light as Ochi tells him to stop since this is too big for him, wanting Vader just to come back with him and see reason. The red light blinds Ochi as Vader finds it comes from a kyber crystal, which is being mined to use for the Star Destroyer's Death Star-like cannons. The crystal screams in pain as Vader tells Ochi to serve the Sith. The kyber must suffer. Palpatine's disembodied voice says pain is the only way to find its true power. The crystals explode, blowing Ochi's helmet off and burning out his eyes as Vader endures the power. Told by Palpatine it tore him to pieces, but this is something different. Palpatine appears, telling his friend that this is unlimited power beyond what Vader knows and is all at his fingertips. He knows Vader can feel it burning his flesh and knows he cannot fight it, so how will he claim it? Palpatine recites the 4 aspects of the Sith Code, saying it is the path Vader chose and one he needs to choose again if he is to walk with him, since only this way can Vader share in his power. Vader has an altered vision of Bespin, where Luke offers him his hand, saying together they can destroy the Emperor since he has foreseen it and it is his destiny. Palpatine asks if Vader has chosen and the Dark Lord has, rejoining his master on the dark side.